Here's a mind-blowing statistic about Uttar Pradesh. Back in 2017, it had just 200 startups, and now it has more than 10,000. Also, and I would say this is arguably more impressive, is that 50% of the startups in Uttar Pradesh are run by women. And from a global perspective, this is not normal. The United States has barely managed to keep this number at around 40% in the last 60 years, and in 2021, it was just 39.9%, and the global average is even lower at 34% for women-run businesses, but Uttar Pradesh and its entrepreneurs are anything but average. Uttar Pradesh is a hugely ambitious state. They want to be a $1 trillion economy all on their own, just as a state. And considering the fact that they're the biggest state in India in terms of population and much bigger than most countries, this actually doesn't sound impossible. And here's the thing, startups actually have a big role to play in building such a massive economy, which is why the state is building a robust startup ecosystem that supports innovative entrepreneurs in building startups. The state government has promised to set up 100 incubators, with each of its districts having at least one incubator by 2025. There are 75 districts in Uttar Pradesh, and they've already set up 60 of these incubators to support entrepreneurs. So with all of that said, let's dive in and take a look at the top 10 Uttar Pradesh startups that are helping the state to achieve this $1 trillion dream. And we're going to start off, of course, in Noida. So despite being one of the most developed cities in Uttar Pradesh, Noida is also one of the greenest cities in the country. And its close proximity to Delhi and Gurugram make it a perfect place for entrepreneurs looking to start up in Uttar Pradesh. So let's begin with the first company from Noida. It's a profitable edtech unicorn. Most of you guys have heard of it. It's pretty much become a household name across India, Physics Wallah. Coming from a humble background, the founder of Physics Wallah, Alakh Pandey, could never pursue IIT coaching as a kid and failed to get into IIT as a result, and his parents actually had to sell their house just so that he could attend an engineering college. In 2014, he decided to do something that would forever change the course of his life. He started a YouTube channel, and he didn't have a fancy camera, no expensive microphone, just a simple whiteboard, a phone camera, and a dream to make education accessible to everybody. Just a couple of years later, Physics Wallah had become a household name, and as his students will tell you, Physics Wallah had actually become an emotion for many. By 2020, Alakh had partnered with his friend Pratik Maheshwari to launch the Physics Wallah app, and with the successful launch of this app, the duo decided to turn Alakh's YouTube channel into a startup. In 2022, Physics Wallah became India's 101st unicorn after raising $100 million from their investors, and today, Physics Wallah has more than 100 offline centers and over 23 million subscribers across multiple channels. They wrapped up FY22 with 233 crore rupees in revenue and also generated a profit of 98.2 crore rupees. Next up, we have another Noida-based company, and this startup has actually unlocked a very rare achievement. They've been to the moon. If you don't already know, the company that I'm talking about here is Omni Present Technologies, and it was founded by Aakash Sinha in 2010. So Omni Present Technologies builds drones and robots primarily, along with the software that powers them, but their crowning achievement came recently with the success of the Chandrayaan-3 mission. It was their Preception Navigation Software that was able to stitch together the images taken from the rover to create a 3D image of the moon's surface, which was then used by ISRO scientists on Earth to navigate the rover back on the moon. But that's not all. Omnipresent Technologies drones and robots are also used by companies on Earth too, for everything from cleaning the Yamuna and Ganga rivers to surveying petrol pipelines. In fact, back in 2021, one of Omnipresent's drones completed a 51-kilometer survey of the Hindustan Petroleum Pipeline, making it the longest drone flight in the country ever. All right, moving on to the next company on this list. It's a fun one. I think you'll enjoy it. This company manufactures food trucks, and it's called Azimuth Business on Wheels. Founded by a former merchant Navy officer, Puneet Anand, in 2016, Azimuth Business on Wheels designs and builds customized trucks for their customers in the food and beverage industry. In fact, this startup even made the food truck that was used in the Bollywood movie Chef. They've also launched a new kind of food truck. It's the first of its kind in India. It's a 20-foot capsule-shaped food truck made entirely of steel, and it comes equipped with all of the necessary kitchen equipment too. So far, Azimuth Business on Wheels has built food trucks for more than 500 brands, including the likes of 24/7, Starbucks, Chicago Pizza, Rebel Foods, Chai Point, and Haldiram's. Also, I recently did a podcast with Nicolas Golsemi. He's a French entrepreneur who ran a food truck business in Bengaluru, India, and it was an extremely difficult journey for him. Just getting the food truck made in the first place was a challenge, and there's no proper legislation or licenses for food trucks in India, at least at the moment, and so he'd often get fines from traffic police. Anyways, if you haven't checked that podcast out, definitely do. You can find a link to it up here, but this is a real problem that this company in Noida is actually solving, so great job, guys. All right, next up, we have a startup in the emerging sector of lithium-ion battery recycling, Lohum. So today, a majority of the lithium that goes into the batteries of electric vehicles is being extracted through activities that are harmful for the environment, poisoning our water, soil, and air. And unfortunately, it's not just lithium. It's the same for other rare minerals that are mined from the earth like cobalt, nickel, and graphite. And so this is where Lohum comes in. It was founded by two Harvard Business School graduates, Rajat Verma and Justin Lemon, in 2018. And basically what they're doing is taking the dead batteries from cars, bikes, laptops, and smartphones and processing them to recover metals and minerals, which are then purified and made ready to be used in new batteries. And in fact, Lohum is actually able to recover about 95% of all of the lithium-ion battery salts through their processes, and these are actually used to make what they call second life batteries. Today, Lohum already has a 1 gigawatt recycling capacity, and they're planning to invest another $100 million to 10x that capacity too. All right, now let's move on to another city, the capital city of Uttar Pradesh, Lucknow. A lot of people don't realize this, but Lucknow is a thriving startup ecosystem, which was ranked at number 21 in India by Startup Link, and the first startup that I want to talk about from this city is ISAK Fragrances. Founded by Vidushi Vijay Varghya in 2016, ISAK Fragrances is a premium fragrances brand that you might remember from their appearance on Shark Tank India. And despite coming from a Marwari business family, Vidushi had actually never been a part of the family business, and after her ideas were rejected by her family, she decided to start her own company. She decided to launch ISAK Fragrances to revive the tradition of India Attars, which are made of 100% perfume oils and are much stronger and longer lasting than normal perfumes. Vidushi managed to secure 50 lakh rupees from Lenskart's Piyush Bansal for a 50% stake in the company, and now she's even planning on taking Indian fragrances to the international market too. All right, now moving on to the next company on this list, we have a startup that's making stevia-based food and beverages, Arboreal Bioinnovations. So stevia is a plant-based natural sweetener which happens to have 0 calories, and with more than 100 million diabetics in the country, India is often called the diabetes capital of the world, and so Arboreal wants to replace sugar in the country with stevia by making products that are safer to consume. Founded by Swati Pandey and Manish Chauhan in 2015, Arboreal operates a B2B business where they're selling stevia-based solutions to more than 150 companies in India and around the world to reformulate their food products. In 2019, they also launched a B2C brand called Magic Leaf, where they're selling stevia, of course, and also stevia-based products like sweet dishes, hot chocolate, and apple cider vinegar. And the cherry on top here is that in 2021, Arboreal actually won Startup India's National Startup Award in the food processing category. Okay, now we're gonna shift over to a new city. It's the biggest in all of Uttar Pradesh, Kanpur. So Kanpur is located on the banks of the Ganga River, and it's also known as India's leather capital as it accounts for 15% of the country's leather and leather product exports. The city also has a budding startup ecosystem, and it's ranked as 34 in India by Startup Link. So the first company that I want to talk about from Kanpur is taking flower waste and turning it into incense sticks. This startup is called PHOOL. Every single day, more than 1,000 tons of flowers are thrown into the Ganga River, and these flowers contain toxic wastes like arsenic, lead, cadmium, and pesticides. And the thing is, even though this is a massive ecological problem, and it's also an issue for people who live next to the river and animals that live in the river, no one was really questioning this temple waste as a source of pollution, at least not until Ankit Agarwal decided to start PHOOL in 2017. So this startup collects flower waste from outside of temples, takes the flowers' petals, sorts them by color, turns them into powder, mixes them with water, and then presses them into incense sticks. Now, the other great thing about PHOOL is that their incense sticks aren't made with charcoal like other brands, and charcoal releases toxic sulfur dioxide when it's burned, but PHOOL's incense sticks have none of these harmful toxins. All right, moving on to another Kanpur-based company. This is a plant-based milk brand called OatMilk. So this is a wild statistic. India is the world's biggest producer of milk, yet about 70% of its population is estimated to be lactose intolerant. So in 2020, two lactose intolerant friends, Aakash Sinha and Rishabh Gupta, decided to quit their cushy jobs in the UK to start OatMilk to offer an alternative to dairy milk to other lactose intolerant Indians. After months of failed experiments with oats and putting 15 lakh rupees of their own money into the company, they were finally able to launch their alternative milk brand OatMilk in November of 2021 in their hometown of Kanpur. Today, most of OatMilk's sales come from their B2B channels, where they have tie-ups with hotels across 40 cities, but they're also planning to expand their B2C business in India too. This young startup has already expanded internationally into the UAE and Singapore, and they've raised 1 crore rupees from their investors to help them strengthen their brand and roll out more oat-based products for their consumers. And now, for the last 2 companies in this list, we're going to move over to the final city of this video, Ghaziabad. The startup culture here has been increasing rapidly, with Ghaziabad rising 60 global ranking spots, and it's currently sitting at 24th in all of India. So the first startup that I want to talk about from Ghaziabad is an omni-channel eyewear brand started in 2017 called Cleardekho. Founded by Shivi Singh and Saurabh Dayal, Cleardekho sells affordable eyewear in Tier 3 and Tier 4 cities in India. However, the company began as an online eyewear marketplace, and they even managed to raise funding in the first few months of operations, but within 6 months, the company had run out of money, and they only needed to make 1.5 lakh rupees in 1 month just to survive and cover operational costs. So they decided to pivot, and in a big way. Instead of relying on an online model where they had huge customer acquisition costs through advertising, the founders decided to literally sell their eyewear on the streets like a street vendor. And even though this was probably a huge ego-shattering moment for the founders, it helped them to survive. The experience enabled them to better understand and empathize with their customers on a deeper level when selling affordable eyewear, and it also opened their eyes to the opportunity presented by offline retail. Today, Cleardekho has built their own eyewear brand and also operates on a franchise model, having more than 100 offline stores. And now, finally, coming to the last company on this list, we have Kyari Innovations. Founded by brother-sister duo Abhay and Smratika Sharma, Kyari makes innovative products which are designed to help adventure travelers on their hiking and camping trips. Their flagship product is a smart stick called Guardian, which comes with 3 LED lights to help you navigate hiking paths at night, and it also comes with a panic alarm and an electro-stun feature to scare away wild animals that you might encounter. But apart from these safety features, it also comes with an emergency power bank that you can use to charge your phone, and it's essentially a multi-purpose smart stick designed and manufactured in India. The startup was also featured on Shark Tank India and managed to raise 51 lakh rupees for 6% equity from Anupam Mittal and Piyush Bansal. So those are just a few of the hundreds of incredible startups in Uttar Pradesh. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.